with it, yeah.
Okay, great. This is our Empathy Circle Facilitators Work Group, and Neetu and Divya are going to be sharing about their experiences with empathy circles. Take it away.
So I'll just quickly mention I co-facilitated just yesterday with Dr. Carlson with a group of nurses in psychiatric emergency. And they're not currently treating COVID patients, but they have to constantly address the risk of being exposed because they are working with patients who come into the hospital. So they have a lot of fears and anxieties. And I guess I just want to say that co-facilitating with Dr. Carlson was a really great experience. He he took over the whole organization of it. So I really just did my timekeeping. But I think it's hard for me to take on a bigger role when the actual facilitator is already there and is so well versed, especially with his staff, because he knew them all and had such an much easier time speaking with them. So I believe that as a facilitator in training, once I get those roles where I can by myself run the group, that I'll feel more comfortable speaking and articulating myself and taking on the role more responsibly.
So I had an opportunity to facilitate one of the circles. It was for something known as a mobile crisis team at Brookdale Hospital, and I was able to facilitate it by myself. We broke into two rooms, Dr. Carlson and myself, and I had a group of my own. And yes, initially it was I was a little nervous, but then it went on. It wasn't so bad. I did have one participant, like I mentioned during our training session, who wasn't very interested in the whole circle. He just wanted to stay quiet throughout the circle. That was one obstacle that I went through. And the other thing was there were some deep personal issues that some of the people in the circle were talking about, which kind of made the other members of the circle a little anxious, and the session got over. So we weren't able to address that part. So when we left the circle, some people felt heavy in their heart because they had to hear those sad moments of another person, but wasn't able to like reflect on it or even mention about it during their conversations. Apart from that, a lot of technology problem we faced because some of them were on their cell phones, their mics weren't working properly. There was some of them had thick, heavy accents, so the other person couldn't really understand them that well and reflect exactly what the other person was saying. But overall, I think my experience was good. And on Thursday, I had the training session with Lou and Bill, which was amazing because the best part of that was they weren't just talking. They took our feedback, they asked us our concerns, and we had a lot of concerns to share with them. So when we told our concerns, and based on their experience in the past, when they shared how they dealt with those concerns, I feel like I want to do another empathy circle. I want to facilitate another circle now. I feel more ready compared to what I did the previous time. So I'm kind of looking forward if I can get opportunities to facilitate more circles now. Do you want to add anything else, Neetu?
You're muted.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree that having the training alongside with opportunities to facilitate, I think is the best combination of the entire training process. And I don't necessarily think it's a faster way to go. I just think it's the right way to go. Because I think it's the same thing that you do in a lot of different fields of practice where you learn and you have your experience at the same time, and that's how you build your knowledge and ability to carry out the responsibility. So I'm not opposed to learning the whole way, but I do have to take on more situations where I get to facilitate in order to become a good one. I'm kind of.
I hope we can bring more facilitators. We have been asking people, but I'm actually glad that now more people are open to the idea of joining the empathy circle at the hospital. I think this week was like a track record for us to have two groups run at the Brookdale Hospital. So hopefully we have more and we can motivate more people to join, which will open gates to bringing more facilitators from the healthcare field.
Yeah, our goal right now is to get people interested. Go ahead, Marta.
It sounds brilliant. I'm really happy for you, and yeah, look forward to more. I was wondering, did you, in the various experiences that you got to actually facilitate, did you get facilitate the debrief after? Was that part of it?
Yes, we did get a debrief at the end of it. Some of them were pretty contented and happy with the circle. Some of them didn't feel like it was that useful to them, but that was mostly because of the technology. They were at their workplace, they didn't have their laptops or anything, they just had their cell phones. So I think technology was the biggest hindrance for them. But apart from that, most of them felt pretty contented at the end of the circle.
Hmm. I was meaning a facilitator debrief. So I think that's something that we, yeah, so that's just something I wanted to mention. And I know it was, you know, small, like you didn't have many circles happening, but even if it's just two people with Carolina, you know, when we do that, which is after, you know, we do our, we get together, we host this thing, we organize, we do it, and then people leave and we make the time and we stay behind. And usually with Carolina, what happens is we go like, you know, and then we relax, and then sometimes we need a little bio break before we actually do the debriefing. But it just means that there's someone there to immediately be there for us and to talk about how was it and what were the difficulties, and like, because you might, sometimes it might happen that there's something you want to go over with someone or something that you were left with, or so when we do, it's good to have that inbuilt into the practice, that you just, you know, even if it's just a quick 10 minutes thing, even if you don't have time to talk about it there and then, at least you can raise it. So you've shared what you want to talk about and you can talk about it later, but at least, you know, there's that, it makes it feel a bit more like I'm doing this as part of a team.
Right. So I did that with Dr. Carlson at the end of the session.
Brilliant.
And
Cool.
he did give me some tips and I was able to address some issues right away. So that did help. So yes, definitely. We'll continue doing that. Thank you.
Carolina?
I think there was also Lou and Anne. I just want to do a direct point that I feel like without this debrief after the meeting, debrief for facilitation, for facilitators, I feel like with that we are more completed. Without that, there is lack of something. When we have opportunity to say how it was for us, even for a few minutes, then I feel completed. I discover that. Yeah.
Lou, you earlier.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm really excited to hear about what you're doing and how you're experiencing doing the empathy circles, and I'm also happy that you felt like you got a lot out of the training session. I also just wanted to suggest one thing about the Diya, what you described as, you know, a very big emotional moment towards the end of the circle, and you're guessing as facilitators, probably because you had your own emotional reaction to what had been said, that other people might be left with a big emotional residue. That something you could consider doing in a situation like that is acknowledging your own feelings and then just doing a quick round, like just wondering if other people are feeling that way too, and maybe everyone could just say, take 10 seconds or just say how you're feeling, or take 10 seconds and say one sentence about how you are right now. And that at least gives some expression to what you think people, what's going on for people. And it's not a full processing, but it's better than them just holding it inside and not having being able to say anything about it to anyone. And it doesn't even need reflection. You could just do a quick round.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
I think Anne wanted to speak.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I found it. I've co-facilitated a few now, and it's been really useful to just have a few moments and to look at what was live or what was kind of a little bit more challenging in it. It's like really strengthens your learning and your confidence. It has for me. And there was one I did where there wasn't any of that, and it was really noticeably different.
Okay.
Bill, I think.
I don't really have, I mean, I'm excited to keep having opportunities to facilitate, and we'll probably have another training. I mean, I would love another training session after I've had maybe another opportunity to facilitate, just so that I can talk more about what I've learned from it and how I can make it better.
I think Bill wanted to say something.
Yeah, Bill wants to say something.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
just yeah, sure. I just want to say real quickly that you know, I think, and I feel confident speaking for Lou. Lou and I got a lot out of it too, and that was part of the facilitation, like part of the assessment. Essentially, you know, is whether these people can is that we felt heard. And so that's a big, you know, that's a big piece of it. And that's like, actually, as I thought about it, it's kind of an unwritten assessment, you know, in the sense that we were getting as much out of the circle as you are. It made us rethink and look at what we're doing, how we're saying it. And of course, your particular, you know, expertise and uniqueness also, you know, made us look at new things. So I really appreciate it as well. And I think that's something to think about.
Thank you.
No.
Oh, Lou, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say the point that you just made, Neetu, about that having cycles of learning, practice, reflection, learning, practice, reflection. That's totally sound. So thank you for helping me remember, because Bill and I were talking about that. What should the cycles be? And I think you hit it right on. You know, that is the right cycle, right process.
I saw Leona first.
Oh, sorry. I think I keep losing track of the videos. Go ahead, Leona.
It's okay, Neetu. I think Lou just spoke to what I was just going to say about the learning cycle and the reflective process. But what I found helpful, because I'm about where you are, is that is individualized in the sense of the kind of support you might need going on to be a facilitator. Is it the debrief afterwards? What kind of debrief? Or is it the presence of your, like Carolina and Marta have been very available to support me as I start facilitating an empathy circle, and just having their presence as mentors and support has been really valuable. And so I think that sense of adult learning principles of what does each person come with and where's their learning edge, and that comes out of the debrief, and then that being available to that new facilitator. And everybody will be different. And that's the beauty of this system being so flexible and responsive. Yeah, thanks. That was it.
Yeah, I'll just build on that with the support, is having a lot of support. Like we have the support group here, place for you to share, everyone to share, for me to share. You know, we can all be heard here. But we also have the support before the circle, is when we've done the empathy tent, we have a little empathy circle with the, you know, the group that's going to be there at the tent. So we get a little bit of an empathy bath. Then afterwards, so it's just a lot of empathy, you know, mutual empathy between the facilitators, I think I find helps ground me, kind of gives me more space, takes the edge off of anxieties. So just a lot of, it's just as a foundational principle is just facilitator support, being well supported. I tend to think, oh, I can do it. I don't need, I'm super empathy. I can step into this, but you know, it kind of wears you down after a while. So it's good to have that support too.
No, especially, I mean, we're still newcomers and we're new to this process. So we really do appreciate the support.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Do we have anything else to share?
No, I feel good.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.